Over the last 50 years, we have engineered childhood to be safer and more productive than at any point in human history. Yet, despite the padding, the helmets, and the heavily optimized schedules, youth anxiety and depression rates have skyrocketed. Today's childhood is meticulously curated. Kids move from supervised classrooms to structured extracurriculars, with adults constantly managing their conflicts, their schedules, and their physical boundaries. The free-roaming independence of past generations has virtually disappeared. This chart reveals the timing of that shift. As opportunities for independent, unsupervised play plummeted over the decades, clinical rates of youth anxiety, depression, and suicide surged in a nearly mirrored trajectory. By shielding children from every physical risk and minor failure, we have inadvertently stripped them of the psychological armor they need to navigate the world. Psychologists identify the missing piece as an internal locus of control. It is the deep-seated belief that you are capable of navigating your own problems, rather than feeling like life simply happens to you. When adults constantly hover, stepping in to mediate playground disputes or fix mistakes, children lose the necessary practice required to build that internal confidence. This diagram illustrates a core psychological concept known as an internal locus of control. It represents the internal belief that you have the agency and competence to solve your own problems, rather than feeling helplessly pushed around by external forces. Independent play actively wires the developing brain to develop that exact internal agency. It acts as the biological architecture of resilience, giving kids the practical tools they need to fend off modern anxiety. Standard expert advice usually suggests we just let them play to fix this, but that advice often feels insufficient because it fails to explain the specific neurological mechanics that make play effective. In reality, play functions as a fundamental biological ecosystem, physically constructing the structural architecture of the developing brain. To protect childhood mental health, we need to decode the specific nutritional groups of play and understand how they architect a resilient mind. We can see this blueprint in action through 10 specific pillars of play. The first phase focuses on the activities that actively engage and wire the brain's cognitive centers. Constructive play, like building with blocks or crafting, forces a child to visualize possibilities and adapt to physical constraints. It is a direct workout for iterative problem-solving and spatial reasoning. Then there is dramatic or pretend play. When a child adopts a role or builds a story, they engage the default mode network. This diagram shows the shift. Instead of a linear thought, pretending requires the brain to bridge multiple nodes simultaneously, to hold different perspectives and narratives in mind. This exercise in cognitive flexibility develops divergent thinking, the ability to generate multiple solutions to a single problem. This mental agility practiced in childhood pretend play forms the basis for creative problem-solving across different domains later in life. Underpinning all of this is sensory play. By exploring textures, sounds, and sights, infants engage in the foundational exploration that stabilizes their earliest neural pathways. These cognitive play types provide a self-directed curriculum for the developing brain. They act as a primary driver for executive function, offering a more complex training ground than any passive, screen-based media. The second phase of the blueprint moves beyond the cognitive, focusing on play that requires full body movement and physical exertion. Active locomotor play, such as running and jumping, has a direct, measurable impact on biology. It is essential for cardiovascular fitness and the accrual of bone density during growth. Rough and tumble play is often mistaken for simple chaos or misbehavior. In reality, it serves as an evolutionary scaffold, allowing children to practice managing high levels of emotional arousal and aggressive impulses in a safe environment. This extends to adventurous or risky play, like climbing to great heights. By deliberately putting themselves in moderately frightening situations, children are effectively practicing nature's exposure therapy. As this research indicates, adventurous play is a documented mechanism for reducing clinical anxiety. The thrill motivates children to face feared stimuli, allowing them to learn about physiological arousal, navigate uncertainty, and develop a template for coping with the unexpected. When we eliminate all physical risk from childhood, we also remove these learning opportunities. Without the chance to manage fear on their own terms, children are more likely to develop long-term emotional fragility. The final phase of the blueprint focuses on the external frameworks that govern how children integrate into the world around them. There is a vital contrast between free, unstructured play, which builds self-reliance, and structured, rule-based play. Following the rules of a game provides a workout for self-control and the ability to delay gratification. These environments are where social play happens. It is the essential classroom for lifelong skills, like conflict resolution, practicing deep empathy, and decoding nonverbal emotional signals. A child with these skills can step into an unpredictable society and confidently interact with the people around them. Surrounding this entire structure is nature play. Unpredictable, green spaces naturally calm the biological stress system and restore a child's attention. Through all these different forms of independent activity, a child's internal locus of control is built, tested, and fortified. You do not need to meticulously micromanage every minute of a child's day to raise a healthy, successful adult. The most biologically necessary thing you can do for a child's mental health is simply step back, open the door, and give them space to play. True protection comes from letting them build their own internal tools to face the world.
If you want to understand your child's brain a little better every week, we make one of these for you. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.